I can tell you one of the top issues that is facing our city and many cities today is flock cameras. I was listening to other council members from other cities in Arizona and across the country address a representative from flock. You need to answer these questions. We don't think that we're getting the answers we should. I went back to our police chief and said, hey, this is what I heard at this committee meeting. Are they living up to their contracts? Is privacy of our residents secure and safe?
Welcome back to the Around the Districts podcast, where we bring conversations to you with people shaping our communities, districts, and the future of Arizona. I'm Gabrielle Mazar.
I'm Nicole Brown.
And on today's episode, we're back here with Chandler City Council member Jane Poston, a longtime Chandler resident, mother, and small business owner. She's running for re-election, and welcome back to the show today.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chandler, which I didn't really realize this about Chandler, but Chandler's landlocked, right? Where you have to grow up instead of, because you can't grow out anymore.
Yes.
So, how is Chandler developing from that?
Yeah, that's been a really big topic of conversation for quite some time. We knew it was coming, but we are right around that 94% build out. For me personally, one of the things that I am trying to change the conversation a little bit is the fact that we are about to be built out does not mean we are closed for business. It kind of sounds like we're done. We are not.
No more people.
Exactly. We can keep the people, we can keep the business, but part of that is that we need to preserve the land that we have to its best and highest use at all costs, and just be very, very careful about what projects and how we grow. And then the second side of that I think is really important in a very broad way is that we need to start looking at redevelopment and what we can do with the properties that are maybe underperforming. And it's so important in so many ways. For one, if you have maybe an older property that, a retail center that just doesn't have the use that it had before, is that an appropriate place to maybe transfer in and allow some housing there? With the residents, right? So maybe it's condos or small housing, or we've done a lot to try and get different types of housing to allot for the broad base of people that need housing in our community. But whether that's appropriate for the neighborhood, I mean, there's a process that we would go through, but if you bring in more people, it supports the retail around it. So, but it has to be in the right place. So what we really need are specialists in our city because that, excuse me, really understand redevelopment. And that's in our planning and zoning and in our development services departments. And whether it's because it's just a different look. We've had lots and lots of land to work with, and we have so much great institutional knowledge from our city employees, but they really haven't had to deal with redevelopment as much, except in our downtown. So that's why I know we can do it when you're redeveloping, or we have remnant pieces of land. And by that, maybe just small properties instead of some big, large, empty property. That means the businesses that come in there might need a little more hand holding. And I always like to say, I know we can do it because we did it so successfully in redeveloping our downtown. And it's just thriving right now. But those are small properties, small business owners, and that's a place where it's appropriate. And we've been going up a little more than we've been going out.
Yeah.
How do you feel the community support has been for that?
For redevelopment, I think they're very excited about it, as long as it's appropriate, that we're working with them and that it's in the right places. Part of what we're looking at too is our schools. We're having some issues. We have a couple of schools. We have several different school districts in our community, but we have a couple that have already announced that they're going to be doing closures. And can we take those properties and maybe convert them to housing? Because you don't want an attractive nuisance, right? And schools have always been a real asset to any neighborhood. So how do we make sure that that continues to be an asset? And then having that mix of housing as well. And these two just sort of go hand in hand, redevelopment and housing, I think. But having that different mix of housing will hopefully help us attract those younger families that then make sure that we don't have to have that continuation of school closures. Because if we can only attract people who can afford the highest, most expensive housing, and housing is expensive in Chandler. We've been sort of a victim of our own success. but we need that entry level, that workforce housing for teachers and firefighters and all of those folks and first time home buyers, right? The young
Right.
kids who are
Because
coming
of,
back.
people are
Yes.
aging out too of the
Yes,
workforce.
yes, they are. So, we need to attract those young people who want to live near where they work, and then hopefully, have those schools full of those kids again
Yeah.
and start it all over. I've always said I want Chandler to be the kind of place my kids want to come back to. So everybody wants what they don't have. I've
Yeah.
got one in New York who just got his first job. I've got one down in Tucson still in school, but they want to go and try something else. But I want to do the things on city council that preserve everything about Chandler that made it the choice for me and my family.
Where you came back.
Exactly. Exactly.
Downtown Chandler is great, by the way.
Isn't it?
I was
Thank
there on
you.
Juneteenth, so I did see you guys.
Oh yes. Oh, we had that was the big party.
Yeah, I
and
saw
and
that.
we have a big project going on with a regional park, and we're fixing that up.
Yeah.
So
all the
Yeah,
construction.
it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better.
But that's what infrastructure, that's what,
It-
we look for, where the taxpayer dollars are going to better the
Yes.
community.
Yes.
So when you think about that, though, the residents, and I think Gabby asked this, but I just wanted to be a little bit clarification.
Sure.
Are they okay with growing up more like apartment condo wise, or is that more of
Only
a
in
problem?
it has to be in the right area. And let's be very specific. I think we have had we've had many apartment complexes approved, and there may be some need for them, but I think that in terms of apartments, they've got to go in the right place, multifamily.
Right.
So that might be along the arterial corridors, right? And that's where they're going right now.
Right.
Maybe along where the freeway is, because it's really more surrounded by businesses. People don't want a big apartment complex looking in their backyard.
Mhm.
Right.
And we don't want to do that.
Yes.
So, where we've had some apartments go, what we have done really to help the residents is put the taller stories right there on the road, and then have them go lower and just maybe one story if it backs up to a neighborhood.
But you don't want to take away from the charm of Chandler. either,
Absolutely
right?
not.
'Cause
Absolutely not.
downtown is really quite charming in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yes,
So you don't want
yes.
to take away from that feel, right?
Correct. Absolutely. I mean, it's an attraction, and I've been here long enough where a lot of people don't remember some of those businesses were boarded up and
Yeah.
and they weren't thriving. But Chandler, what I think makes it so charming, it's really playing the long game, is that all of those businesses that face that square, the historic square, are locally owned. So it really is a place for entrepreneurship and a place for, families to have family businesses. And that means a lot to the community, because, that's who you go to when you're like, hey, will you sponsor my baseball team or give me a gift basket? And we've got really generous businesses here because they have that investment
I
and
think
are
that's what
embedded.
has made it such a success, is
Mhm.
because I think people want to support it so much because it
Yes.
is a lot of locally owned small
Yes.
businesses. And that's huge when you're trying to build community and grow that. People want that. People really do want to support small businesses.
And you sort of feel like, oh, I get to help this person as opposed to this big blank
Mhm.
corporation.
Yep. Yeah.
Not that we don't love our malls.
Those are great
It's
too.
it's
Those are
great too.
But in your
But-
small community, you want community, and you want to know. A lot of people want to know the person that they're going to, and when you go to a small restaurant, and you know the owner and you know the
Yes.
bartender, and it's kind of family, right?
Right?
And you have that small community feel in a historic place, like downtown Chandler, that it just kind of breeds that really great feel of that community that you're trying to build right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody, feels that it makes them feel special. You
Yeah.
walk in and the owner knows you and
Absolutely.
knows what you need, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, talk about the fun stuff.
Okay.
Chandler.
What we like it's all
right?
fun
Like
stuff.
pickleball,
Oh.
Which most people think is an old person's sport, but it's actually pretty fun. Even though I'm on the older side, I think it's fun.
Well, I will admit that when my son was in high school, he and all of his friends carried pickleball rackets in the back of their car so they could go do a game anytime. And for a long time, they had to go to a neighboring city. And now at our Tumbleweed Rec Center at Tumbleweed Park, which is a very large regional park, we actually opened up gorgeous brand new pickleball courts, and it is busy all the time. And what I think is great, because I thought it was really, for older people
Older
too, but it really spans the ages. And I think it's one of those activities where you start young and the young
Yeah.
people love it, but you can kind of keep up for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
That's
So,
really funny.
I
yes.
like pickleball. It's a lot
I
of fun.
never would have. The times have changed.
Yes, and not only do we have that large pickleball court, but we've started putting in them in neighborhood parks as well.
Yeah.
When those neighborhood, when the neighbors won't be affected, because there is that sort of uneven ping sound,
In
and
the neighborhoods, like outside?
in neighborhood parks. Like I have a neighborhood park, which means it's fairly large. It's adjacent to the elementary
It's
school.
115 degrees.
Oh, well, maybe we're not playing today at noon,
I'm like,
but
who's playing pickleball. in this
it's busy all the time,
Yeah.
believe it or not, especially in the evenings when it
Yeah.
when it finally
The
cools
sun
off.
goes down.
But this way, you don't have to go just to the regional park. You can walk down the road and have that park right there in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
So one of the goals was to put a park within walking distance of every Chandler resident, and I think we're there.
Yeah. Is that one of your favorite community activities?
Pickleball?
Yeah.
I'm terrible at it.
Oh.
I really So I like going to all of our festivals and I like playing, but I'm so bad at it that maybe I don't play as often as I
Yeah.
should.
I
So-
mean, it's like tennis, but it's very active.
I like racquetball where the ball can't go too far.
Oh.
You don't have to chase after it
Yeah,
so hard.
That's
not
what I
good at
did.
any of it.
Oh,
So you are on the National League of Cities Public Safety Committee.
yes.
How does sitting on a national board actually help a resident living down the street in Chandler? I don't know if I said that right, but
That's such a
Okay.
great question
Yeah.
because sometimes our residents, it's hard to tie that in. But here's a for instance. The city of Chandler is becoming its own ambulance service, right? We're bringing that in-house and to our fire department. And so it will be our firefighters on those ambulances. We've been gearing up with that by hiring new firefighters to be on those ambulances. That'll kick off in 2027. It's one of the things I'm very proud of because not only are we going to be doing it, it's going to be a cost center that ends up paying itself.
Oh.
So we're funding it through our general fund now, but within 5 years, it will be self-sufficient and the general fund will have been paid back. I mentioned that because part of what we're doing in the expansion and with those ambulance services is also buying fire trucks. And one of the issues that we addressed on the National League of Cities was the cost and the time that it took to get a fire truck. And they are in the millions of dollars. And one
A
of the
fire
things,
truck is in the
yes, yes,
wow.
because I want to say it's 2 million. I don't want to misspeak, but that's a minimum of what it is. And I think that cost is rising for other cities. Our fire chief actually recommended that we lock in the deal a year or so ago. So we authorized him to go ahead and do that for the fire trucks that we need next year. Other cities haven't been as fortunate to have a fire chief with that kind of foresight. But what's also happening is the companies that are building fire trucks are apparently not only do they build fire trucks, they also own all the smaller companies that build fire trucks. So when cities are going out to bid, it's not as truly competitive as it should be because they're getting bids from the main owner and apparently all of the same subsidiaries. And that board that I sit on at the National League of Cities is doing some lobbying to our federal government to try and get that changed and make sure that it is not costing all of the cities as much as they are getting charged because it wasn't a competitive bid. That's sort of one of those ongoing things. It's kind of inside baseball. It's very wonky, but that's one of those things that when we work together, it's not just me, it's council members from cities all around the country looking at some of the issues that, everyone needs to address. I can tell you one of the top issues that is facing our city and many cities today is flock cameras. And
yeah, that was
that
the topic.
that was first brought to me when I was at a committee meeting there and I was listening to other council members from other cities in Arizona and across the country address a representative from Flock and say, or you need to help us, you need to answer these questions. We don't think that we're getting the answers we should. That's when I went back to our police chief and said, hey, this is what I heard at this committee meeting. And can you help answer all of these questions? Are they living up to their contracts? Is privacy of our residents secure and safe? But that first came to me because other cities all across the country were addressing that.
I know was addressed to Tempe.
Yes.
And during the election as well.
Mm-hmm.
Flat cameras are the ones that are those the ones that
They're the license plate readers.
Yeah.
So there's license plate readers, there's red light cameras.
but is
all
that
sorts
the
of
one
things.
where like if it warns you one's nearby and then if you go by
don't know.
speeding?
I think that might be a red light camera that does that. That they're coming up so you don't run a red light, or if you do, it takes a picture. No,
I think it is a flat cameras where they take a picture of you. And they
it's
send it
supposed to
back?
take a picture of just your license plate, and
Oh.
it's continuously going.
I know it was
So,
a big deal in Tempe City Council,
Yes.
and I know one of
it's a big deal in Chandler. It's a
Yeah.
big deal everywhere right now.
one of the members who just won is going to be talking more about that too. So
I think we're all going to be
yeah,
talking about
'cause
that a lot
it's
more.
a privacy issue, right?
Yes,
And that's what it's like Big Brother watching us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So well, that's really great that that you guys are taking that on too, because I think a lot of people are concerned about that.
They are, and we hear from them all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's the balance that you have to make in that decision, because we're hearing that it's also helping solve crimes.
Yeah.
We literally had a couple. Somebody invaded their home and beat them, put one in the hospital, and then they were discovered. The police found them because of flock cameras.
Yeah.
Right? But if our residents' privacy can't be secured with that technology, then we shouldn't be
I mean, it's
using the
good and bad
technology.
technology. Right?
Always. And it's
There's a
amazing
balance
how
that we need.
so many people that talk to me go, I kind of understand the use of it, but I'm really concerned. I'm like, that's exactly where I'm at. If
That's
we
where
need
we
to
are.
be able to protect our
Yeah,
residents'
that's where
privacy.
we are with AI in general. Right?
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Like it's good. Like I love it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm an educator and I use it, when it helps
Right.
me write things, nicely to students and stuff. But at the same time, there's a balance.
Yeah, the city of
So-
Chandler actually has implemented an AI specialist, and we're working on an AI policy because it's chat boxes. Our courts are already using it and helping get those answers for people who are in the off hours. And I'm talking about like a chat bot.
Yeah.
So we want to do this in such a way that it's assisting people get their jobs done faster and better, but not replacing our city staff at the same time.
Well, tell us as we start to wrap up this conversation, tell us what you want to do more if reelected. Even, with the city of Chandler, what are the things you have left to do, what you really want to focus on? And then
I'm sorry. I was
Go
jumping.
go right
I'm
ahead.
so excited because I've been working on housing a lot, and I actually asked city staff to put together a housing plan that would become part of our general plan that we vote on to really help us understand, are we putting the right kind of housing in the right place, and where are those gaps? What else do we need? What codes can we change to bring in different types of housing? So there's only so much that any city can do, but I think that every little bit that we do can help. We just opened up, we are our own public housing authority. We opened up public housing with, and we're able to move people in an older kind of housing that we owned, put them in this beautiful new facility, also bring in priority to veterans and seniors, put in some families. Now we're going to take that older property, tear it down, and start all over again and be able to house more people. Another
What about
thing,
the unhoused?
we have been working really hard. We have a great neighborhoods program. And so if you see anybody standing on a street, I guarantee that somebody with our neighborhoods program has approached them and offered them services. We started, and we actually have a contract with 2 local hotels. And people were a little skeptical of this, but it's really a housing first approach. So we put them in give them services, get them housed, and then get them the services to help them with what they need, whether it's jobs or issues with drug or alcohol abuse or those sorts of
For
things.
mental health.
Mental health. We have about higher than 90% success rate of people that leave that housing that either go into a program or have a job or find a more permanent home. So those are the people going into hotels.
great.
Yeah, that's
So we are taking we have a community land trust that we're trying to develop more housing. We're trying to look at our codes and say, hey, what can we do to assist the public or the private companies to develop and build more homes here with different housing types. So it's every little thing that we can do, and it takes the public-private partnership. We can't do it alone. But like I said, everything that we can do is helping someone. It's like that starfish story.
Yep. Well, Gabby, you want to close us out here?
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate everything you've done for the city of Chandler
Thank you
and
so
your
much.
insight. We really hope that you win re-election.
Thank you.
And do everything that you have, and continue to do everything that you've been doing for the city of Chandler.
Appreciate that.
And again, tell people how they can reach out to you.
You can reach my website is just www.janeposton.com, and Poston is Poston, or info@janeposton.com.
Are you gonna hold up the?
Oh, yeah, right here. Yeah, if you see all the signs around, mine will be down as soon as they need to be.
Yeah.
But you can reach me right here.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been the Around the Districts podcast. Please share, like, follow, and we will see you on the next episode.